Welcome everybody to this JMC webinar, Attendance Form Letters with JMC, the September 19th edition. My name is Jake Vanskoy, and I am joined by a couple of celebrity hosts today. We have Jody Schott and Sarah Freed. Jody, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Welcome, guys. I am Jody Schott, and I am from Cross Lake, Minnesota.
Sarah, I suppose most everybody knows you. So how about we mix this up? Sarah, I think everybody knows who you are. Who is the most famous person you've ever met in your entire life? Sarah had to think about that one. I think you're on mute, Sarah. Do you want me to unmute you, or can you unmute yourself? Just trying to make sure everybody's audio works here. Sarah, are you with us? I can hear you clicking. All right, we're going to assume Sarah's with us. And hopefully when it comes time to talking form designer, Sarah's going to hook us up. So today it's all about creating and sending attendance and period attendance letters right through JMC. So these letters are going to help your families keep up to date on their students' truancy issues. So we are a couple weeks into the school years, and now it's time to start shifting some focus on what we do when folks don't show up. So on the agenda today, we're going to take a look right off the bat at editing discipline items, creating attendance letters in the form designer, configuring form letter settings, and then printing those attendance letters. So we have that Q&A feature right here built within RingCentral. So if you have any questions, please join us in the chat, and we'll answer these as we go. So sending attendance form letters, sometimes attendance issues get to the point that they warrant a note home to families. In JMC, the attendance discipline and form designer modules all work together to seamlessly communicate and avoid unnecessary paperwork. And here's how. You create a discipline record that corresponds with attendance, so JMC Office users can track those attendance events that warrant a note home. Users can perform a variety of additional discipline actions after the letter has been sent. The attendance module works in conjunction with the custom form designer to automatically send a form letter to the contacts of students who meet a specified criteria, whether it be 3 absences or 5 absences or 10 or 5 tardies or whatever you want to set as your criteria. And then you will use the form designer to create a fully customizable attendance letter. Form letter templates, which will give, or from letter templates that will merge live data when they're printed, something along those lines. So we'll get started with editing discipline items, starting with the problem behaviors in the discipline module. At JMC, we recognize that every school has its own special way of managing discipline, a way that resonates with its unique mission and student community. That's why we've made our discipline module to be as flexible and as accommodating as possible, making it easy for your office staff to pinpoint and select from predefined behaviors that are encountered often, as well as adding any number of user-defined problem behaviors with just a few simple clicks. So if you've ever used the discipline module before, this is just, we're adding a problem behavior that is going to be specific for attendance. So you'll head to discipline data, edit problem behaviors. Step 1, this will be a user defined problem behavior. So you're going to find an item that is not used, or a list item that's not used. And you're going to click the edit link beside the item that's not used. You'll enter the name of that discipline problem behavior. So if we're talking attendance here, you're probably going to have like an attendance letter or an attendance 10 absences or an attendance 5 absences problem behavior, something along those lines. And then you'll click the update link after you have entered your problem behavior in the field there. So you can print off a list of your problem behaviors, both user defined, which is in the bottom half, and the predefined problem behaviors from the top half for your future reference. So let's take a live look at editing problem behaviors. We're in JMC Office. We head to discipline, data, edit problem behaviors, discipline, data, edit problem behaviors. You'll notice I already have one created. So up top, I mean, we frequently get the question, what's the difference between a predefined problem behavior and a user defined? Predefined are usually defined by the state in which you reside. So the state might collect some discipline items from you. So these cannot be edited other than you can reorder them in the list. The predefined, I'm sorry, the user defined problem behaviors, this is what you're looking for. You want to create a problem behavior for attendance. So however many attendance letters you're going to print out, if you're going to print one out for 5 absences and then one out for 10 absences, you'd create 2 problem behaviors: attendance violation letter, 5 absences, attendance violation letter, 10 absences. So find an available line, click the edit link, add your click the update to save. You can print as well. Any questions on creating a discipline record? So you will want to create this discipline record when using attendance letters so that you and your office staff will have a record of who has received one of these attendance letters. So any questions coming through? Jody, Sarah, anything to add?
No, I was
No
just going to say that.
questions.
Oh, I was going to say too that frequently used checkbox, then it kind of reorders, or if you click on that frequently used for those predefined problem behaviors, that will, in the discipline module, correct, those will bump up to the top, so you don't
Right.
have to scroll through a whole bunch of them. That's a way to get those more commonly used ones up to the top of your list.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Jody, and you were going to say?
I was gonna say there's no questions.
All right. Awesome. Cool. Well, no questions. Then let's move right along to editing actions. So we're going to be adding a custom action that's going to go with our attendance letter. So a lot of times when we're talking about attendance here, that letter home is just to bring to the attention of the family potentially, or whoever the guardian is, that, hey, we've got a kid that's missed a lot of school here. These might be the consequences that would be coming up in the future if this is not remedied, or this is what we need to see out of you. So we're going to head to discipline, data, edit actions. Much like the edit problem behaviors, we're going to come in here and find under the user defined section, click the edit link next to a row that does not have a row in it already, or doesn't have a action in it already. You can delete the text from that name field to remove an action that's no longer used. So these are just these lines are placeholders. Essentially, you can change out the wording as needed if you find something that you don't use anymore. You'll enter the correct action in that field right there, and then click the update link. And again, you can print this list for future reference if you need to. So let's take a live look at editing the custom actions. So we're going to head to discipline, data, edit actions. We're going to take a look at our predefined actions up here, and then our user defined actions down below here. And we're just going to make sure that we have a user defined action of sending a letter home, because that is an action that you would take with a behavior, which such as missing school. That's a behavior. So you're going to send out a letter as a kind of a notification to bring folks back into school. So this is an available line for me. I'll click the edit link next to the available line. I'll enter the 10 absences, letter sent as my action. Click the update link, and that will save my action to the list. So Sarah, anything to add?
Nope, I don't have anything to that.
All right, perfect. So no questions. I do want to get quickly to, I know you have to bug out, so I want to get quickly to the creating attendance letters, which is why you're here, right? So
Yes. Yay.
Awesome. So creating attendance or absence or tardy letters in the form designer. So your team has proficiently logged the attendance data in the period attendance module. The next step involves generating period attendance form letters to inform families about possible attendance issues and observed patterns. So utilize JMC's form designer to create a form matching your district's personality and set criteria deciding who should receive the form, so you don't have to wade through attendance reports. So this is a real big time saver for folks that want to create these letters. So to create your period attendance form letter, you'll log into JMC Office, head to Form Designer Student Info Forms to get started. Step one, you'll click the New Form button right up here. You can use a template, or you can start from scratch if you prefer. So choose that blank form from the selected template if you want to just start with a blank sheet of paper. Or the nice thing about this is if you've created attendance letters in the past, or after you create one attendance letter, you can use that as your template moving forward, and then just switch out a few of the items or change the wording slightly as needed. So enter a name in your for your form letter in the enter form name field there, and then click save to save your letter. Step 5, you'll place a check mark in the include mailing label checkbox to speed up the mailing process by printing a name right on the address form. Kind of a nice little feature there. Step 6, you'll select portrait or landscape to determine the orientation of the letter. And then step 7, you'll select letter or legal radio button to indicate the size of the paper for the form to be printed on. Step 8, you will click and drag an item from this list over here to include it. So everything that you see on this list over here for the student info forms, these are all dynamic fields that the information is entered someplace in JMC, in some module in JMC, whether it be attendance or the view student data page. And dragging one of these items over to your form letter allows you to print several form letters for all of your students, where that field changes dynamically to match the student that is receiving the form letter. So that's where you really, really save all of your time. So rather than having to look up this individual information and type it into the form, you select the item from the list, you select the student name from the list, and then as you print these forms off, the name will change and the item that you have associated with the name will also change. Step 10, so you're looking for the attendance items. So whether they be period attendance items or regular attendance or AM PM attendance, you'll select that item. And then once you've selected it, you can click on it to determine your criteria that you're pulling. So we've got the day from and day to range, all of the reasons listed. You know, some of these reasons you might choose to exclude, or maybe you want to include all of those reasons. You can choose from either excused or unexcused or both types of absence. So if your form letter is just focusing on 5 unexcused absences per se, you would choose unexcused. Choose the range of absence you're looking for. So if you want to see all absences greater than 3, so you want your form letter to include absences of more than 3, you would select that in the range there. The total type, I believe you can go by either total or period. And then helpful tip, if you select for a period in the total type drop-down list, you can choose a specific period from the period to check drop-down list to count only absences in that period. So if you want to count all absences for any period, select all. Otherwise, you can go by individual class period. Step 14, place a check mark in the include student detailed checkbox to include a detailed list of students' attendance on the form letter when printed. That's going to add a lot more to the form letter. Just to let you know, you might have 5, 6, 7 pages, depending on how many times the student was absent. So this will show day-by-day breakdowns for the days with at least 1 absence or tardy. Step 15, you'll place a check mark in the include summary checkbox to include total absences per period on the form letter when printed to view potential patterns. Step 16, click the Save button to add your attendance criteria changes to the form letter. Click the Cancel button to exit. And then step 17, you'll click the Save button to save your letter after you've gotten all the pieces finished. So let's take a live look at the criteria for setting an absence or tardy letter using period attendance. And
Thanks,
Sarah,
Jay.
I'm going to have you walk me
Yeah.
through the steps here.
You'll hop on there. That'd be great. Thank you. So going on to Form Designer, and you're going to start with the student info forms. Now, one of the great things on here, and Jake, you explained that very well with that whole piece on the dynamic side on the left hand with all the placeholders. The great thing in here is we're not even going to select a blank form. We're going to select the a demo form in there. You can do a blank form and start your own. We also have a demo 3 absent form in there. And within there, you're going to enter whatever name you want it to be. You could even do like the 10 absence. Yeah, because you've been adding those in. And you also want to make sure that you're specifying it if you want to do if you do absences for semester 1 and then a new, like it starts over for semester 2, you're going to want a form for both of those. But we can just stick with this for right now if you want. So on this template one, the demo one that we have, we actually tell you here in this text box. So this is to let you know that your student has been absent 3 times this semester. Then type in the text you want to send in there. So this is the text box. You can increase that. You can type whatever wording you want, right? Some people send in like, these are the different steps, or if they've been absent 3 times, this is what's going to happen at 5, at 7, at 10, whatever. But you just go in there, double click in there and like Jake is doing, and just change whatever words you want on there. And then the other thing, great job, excellent, is scroll down a little ways. We have a text box down there that says drag the appropriate absent tardy field. So you're either going to be using your period attendance, or that's what we're talking about right now, or the AM PM attendance to the bottom of that page, and you're going to fill out the information that gets requested there. So we're going to you pull that over, and it's going to pop up into that pop-up box. Now that's what Jake was talking about with all those different day from, day to, what's your span that you are checking these attendance or want to send out these letters for? What reasons do you want to include? Do you want to do excused and unexcused? Do you want to do both? And then the range down there for if you want to do the greater than equal to is, once again, we are in the period attendance. So it's going to just check for periods, different periods that you have in there. So we're not doing days in here. We are going to be working with periods. I think you have a 0 in front of that 10. So
it doesn't like that.
Yeah, it doesn't like that. Just if you can delete that 0.
It's not letting me. Sorry.
Oh, interesting.
I'd have to come out of that.
Okay. And then there you go. We're going to pull that over. If you put the 1 in front of that 0, where's your computer?
Of course I did it again, didn't I? Oh yeah, the joy.
Well, that's what's going to happen. We walk through. There it is,
TV.
right there, and we just have 0 right now. So so you're going to drag that box down as low as you can get on that form, so that you can have more room for text. Because that box is going to, you can click on that save, go up to the upper right hand and hit save up there. That might help you out there. And once you get that box on that form, you're going to drag it down, because then you have as much room as you can use for your text, and you're communicating to your teacher or to your parents and guardians. Then once you have that done, you're just going to hit save, and that is your form. And then I'm going to show you one more thing. So we have a 10 absence form. Now, if you want to do another absent form, like if you're going to go 15, you can click on new form, and you can use, and you can just click on, yeah, there you go. You can use a different one and then just change the name. You're entering a name. And we're going to hit save. And then we're reusing that one. So that within this one, if you want to change, you double click in that text box, and you can use your arrows to get to where you want to be and change any of the wording that you want. And you can also alter the information that's actually included in the period attendance summary and student details, that whole thing down in the bottom. If you double click that, it's going to open it up. unless your computer's not liking you. Yep. And then you can change that information within here. So you can, once again, change to anything you want.
It does not like me today. It
Doesn't
like
like
that
your
little
computer
delete.
today, right? Because
Yeah,
I was
no.
doing this earlier on mine and it worked just fine. So, but we
Alright.
get the idea. So you can use whatever reports or whatever forms you have already made, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But we include that demo one in there too, so that you can start with one that's not blank. Great. I think any questions on creating that period attendance form letter?
So far, no questions.
Great. We are so thorough here, Jake. Or all of these folks already have done attendance letters. They're just getting a refresher.
I am sure all of these folks can run circles around me as far as creating form letters for attendance. So
I
yes,
believe that too.
I would agree. Yeah. Yep. So creating, so I think we were looking at the attendance. There's actually, a slight difference for AM, PM attendance versus period attendance. I think most everything is going to work almost identically. It's just a matter of choosing the correct attendance item. So when we are choosing attendance items, we want to pay close attention to what style of attendance we do. So if you are in elementary school and you just have your teachers taking AM, PM attendance by advisor, then you're probably using this AM, PM attendance. If you are high school, middle school, or even an elementary school that that has multiple periods throughout the day listed in JMC, and you have your teachers taking attendance for periods, you would use the period attendance for your attendance form letters. So again, we're going to start on that form designer page. So we're on the student info forms. We'll click that new form button, much the same. We can choose from a template or we can create a brand new one. We'll enter our form name just the same as we did. We click save or click cancel. All of our options for mailing labels, portrait, landscape, legal size, or letter size are all the same. The biggest difference here is we're going to choose the AM, PM attendance item as opposed to the period attendance item. So you can see we had the period attendance items listed above here. Down below, we have the AM, PM attendance absences item here. So we'll click and drag that onto our letter. And the pop-up box looks slightly different here. You'll notice we still have the day from and the day to boxes in there. We can still choose the excused or unexcused. But the biggest difference here is we're either counting full days or we're counting half days. So we can choose the range, more than 5, less than 5. Or we can enter whatever number we need to enter in that field, unless you're me, and then you can't do it. Click save. I'm sorry, add your check mark to your checkbox to only count full days, include full student detail, much the same as we did with period attendance, or include a summary in there as well. Click the save button to save your letter, or to save your attendance items to your letter, and then click the save button up here to save the full letter. So let's take a live look at creating an AM, PM attendance letter.
And like you said already, it is very similar to creating the period attendance letters. It's just that you're bringing over a different item from the left-hand side, and that there's a slightly different information that you can choose from.
Saw an AM, PM attendance that we could maybe use as a. Yep.
Might be. And while you're doing that, Jake, I will also let you know that that include mailing label checkbox. This is just as an aside that will go on. It's only available if you're using the portrait lands or the portrait layout. The landscape it doesn't include because it doesn't know which way you're folding it, right, for that mailing label to be on there.
Sure. Yeah.
So just a little tidbit, then you can become a real expert at this.
Makes sense.
You know that.
So here's all the way at the bottom of this list right here, or towards the bottom. This is where the AM, PM attendance absences reside. So this is the one that you're going to want on here.
Yep. And so then you would have drag it over and you get this box that pops up. You say, what day from day 2 are you doing the first semester? Are you doing the whole year, first quarter, and choose excused, unexcused, or both. Different from the period attendance, you don't have reasons to choose from. And then you are doing full days or half days here. So your range, once again, is you can do greater than equal to. I think you can do equal to, you can do greater than in there, and you choose that number, and then it pops onto your form. And you can choose within there, you know, if you only want to include that full day, or and that print contact information.
Yeah, so if you haven't really played around much with Form Designer, I was kind of instructing somebody earlier today, you know, give it a go with a new form. Try it out with a blank form. If you have, you know, a little bit of time to play around with it, it's, you know, essentially you're kind of designing your own forms. So there are a lot of different options available on there on that list. So you could probably think of several different uses for these form letters. So it does take a little practice, which is why I'm terrible at it. It's why we have Sarah here today, right?
You're doing a great job, Jake. I will say that I've worked with a lot of schools that have a form named test in their list, because that's where they play around with it, right? So they have test and test 1 and whatever. So it's fun. It's fun to get in there, and I would recommend that too. Encourage people to hop on in and play around with just what this looks like, how to change sizes, and what you can do with it. So,
and I would encourage, if you have questions as this is coming on, email our training staff, our training team, training@jmcinc.com, or email our forms team at forms@jmcinc.com. We can help you out, get you pointed in the right direction with these forms. So any questions coming up?
No questions, but we did get a Sarah's amazing comment from
Dixie.
From Dixie.
That
Thank
she
you,
is.
Dixie. I appreciate that so very much.
And we all agree with you, Dixie.
That she is awesome. So, oops. That's my bell trying to keep me on time. So
doing a
configuring
great
form
job.
letter settings.
Doing a
We'll
great
move it
job,
right
Jake.
along.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes.
So setting up JMC's period attendance form letter feature removes the painstaking task of tracking attendance, typing letters, documenting behavior and action in the student's records with just a few clicks. This handy feature allows office professionals to quickly configure a custom attendance form letter, identifying which students have attendance infractions to be included when sending the letter. So we're going to head to period attendance reports form letters to configure our period attendance form letters to send home to families. So this is going to work very much the same in the attendance module. So we're going to go over it both ways, but we're going to start with period attendance reports form letter. Step 1, click the show forms configuration button to select a previously created form letter from the form designer to add problem behaviors and actions. So we're going to associate that problem behavior that we created at the top and the action that we created at the top with the form. Helpful tip: if your configured form letter already appears in the select form drop-down list, you have previously added or problem behaviors and actions and are ready to print. So they'll be right there for you. Step 2, click the add row to add a new form letter to your list. Step 3, click the edit link in the new row to begin editing the configuration. Step 4, select the appropriate form from the form drop-down list to indicate which form to configure. And then step 5, enter a description of the form in the description field to easily find your configured form in the future. Step 6, select a problem behavior from the problem behavior drop-down list to attach a behavior to the discipline from the discipline module to the form here. And then the action, you'll select the action as well. So let's take a live look at configuring the period attendance form letters here, and then we'll run those eventually. So we're coming back around to this. If we go to period attendance, reports, form letter. Okay. We're going to start by showing the configuration here. So you can see if I select from that drop-down list, I have my 3 unexcused absences for SEM 1 already set up, but I'm going to add another one. I'm going to maybe add a 10 absences. So I add row, I click that add row link, click the edit link next to it. So I'm going to choose the form from the form drop-down list. So I'm going to find that period attendance that I'd created here. Let's see here. I have so many forms that we've created here. We'll choose this one, the 8 absences, and we'll describe it. So this is my letter, and this is what's going to show up in the select form drop-down list after I save this. We've got our problem behavior in our drop-down list here. So we'll select from the problem behaviors that I've already created, 8 absences, unexcused, SEM 1. I'll select the action that we're taking. We're sending a form letter. So letter sent would be my action. And then I'll click update over here. And now my form letter will appear right here. So I can choose this form letter. So any questions or anything to add, Jody or Sarah?
Nope.
Okay, so we'll get to the printing and creating a corresponding discipline record, but for now we just configured our form letter. So we created our form letter, we created our discipline, and created our action, and now we are configuring our form letters so that it will send that form letter to the correct people and then create a corresponding discipline record. So we're going to do the same thing in AM/PM attendance. So office professionals can easily configure AM/PM attendance form letters by utilizing attendance information to update student discipline records with just a few clicks. Select an attendance form letter to configure, determine which students to include in the report and who will receive the letter all in one place. So fun fact, this feature does the hard work for you by saving hundreds of hours tracking student attendance and eliminating duplicate letters sent home to families for the same attendance violation. So I've heard this multiple times from multiple people that work in front office, in the front office. This feature alone literally saves them hours and hours of work. So if this is something that maybe you haven't put into practice just because, like, you know what, this is going to take way too much time, so we're not going to send letters home for attendance. This is something that you pay a little bit on the front end, but it pays off way, much more in dividends on the back end. So we'll head to attendance reports form letters to configure our AM/PM attendance form letter. So it's almost the same process. So attendance reports form letters. So if you are taking AM/PM attendance, more than likely in an elementary situation, this is where you're going to go. The process is very much the same. You'll click that show forms configuration button. You'll click the add row. You know, if your form is not listed here, click the edit link next to a row, and then you can edit the form, the description of the form, the problem behavior, and the action that are associated with that form letter. And then you're ready to go. So I'm going to go to attendance, reports, form letter. So attendance, reports, form letter. You'll notice I have a few already that I've created, but I can show the configuration. I can see all of these. I can delete any that are not needed. I can add new. Click the edit link next to a new row. Choose, let's see here. We have AM/PM attendance letter. This is going to be my 10 absences. Choose my problem behavior. So this is going to be an attendance violation letter, 10 absences. Choose my action. This is going to be another action for a letter sent, or I could have a more specified action of a 10 absence letter sent. Then click the update link. To save, hide my configurations, and then I can choose that configuration from down here on the list. Any questions about configuring those letters? And we're going to get into printing here shortly.
No questions. Keep on rolling.
Perfect. So now printing those attendance letters, and it's going to work the same for both AM, PM, and period attendance. So printing period attendance letters from JMC allows you to easily communicate with families when student absences are on the rise by providing you and your families with an attendance snapshot. Simply review the form details, select the students, and then elect to email or print the attendance letters to get them into the hands of families. To get started printing period attendance form letters, head to period attendance, reports, form letters, period attendance, reports, form letters. So we're going back to the same screen that we were just on. Step one, now in this case, we're just going to select that, that form that we have already configured in that last step there. So select the form. Helpful tip, if you'd like to view or edit details from the selected form, click the show forms configuration button. You can go back and edit any of the details from that form, whether it be the problem behavior or the action, or even the form that's attached to it. Step two, select a radio button from the select box to identify which students will be included on the form, on the selected form. Then fill out the appropriate fields highlighted below. So by random, if you're selecting individual students that you know need to receive the letter, you can go by grade range, by sequential, or by advisor. Step three, an optional step, place a check mark in the sort by primary contact checkbox to group multiple student reports by the same primary contact. Step four, place a check mark in the print at most one form per primary contact checkbox to put multiple students on one report if they have the same primary contact. So if you got multiple kids, 6 kids in a family, this is a way to avoid printing 6 separate letters. Another optional step, step 5, place a check mark in the primary contact print only intended recipient's contact data checkbox to print only that contact's personal data on the form letter. Step 6, place a check mark in the include period 0 checkbox to include attendance records for schools that utilize a before or after school program with required attendance. So most of the time, period 0 would not be included unless your school includes period 0 in their formalized attendance. And then step 7, place a check mark in the email, if possible, checkbox to email the form to a contact instead of printing their form. One thing I'll say about this, it's always a little bit more official getting a letter from the school as opposed to getting an email. I think folks are conditioned to getting an email. All of a sudden, it's, the tables have turned on the old mailing communication tree. Folks have, we're accustomed to getting junk mail before, but now it seems like when you get a letter, it has that much more cachet. So in that case, if it's this important, sending a letter home actually might be more likely to have the desired impact than just emailing this. But if you're into saving a few bucks on postage and making things way easy, email that form letter to your families instead of sending it out. Step 8, click the print button to print or save a PDF copy of your attendance form letters. And then step 9, click the create corresponding discipline records button to record attendance infractions in each student's permanent discipline record, preventing the student from receiving a duplicate letter in the future. So this is a key step to this sequence right here. Creating a corresponding discipline record will ensure that the next time you come back and print off a letter for this same infraction. So if you print off at midterm and then you come off and print off again at the end of the term, you want to make sure that those kids that received that letter the first time around don't necessarily receive the letter the second time around. On to printing AM, PM attendance form letters. This works virtually the same way. Instead, you'll go to attendance reports form letter, back to that page there. You'll select the appropriate form In the form drop-down list, you'll select the range of students that you would like to include in this report by grade, by random, or by advisor. You can place a check mark in the sort by primary contact or primary contact print only intended recipients contact data checkboxes for those options. You can also email from this page as well. Enter an address in the reply to email to receive any replies. Click the print button and click the create corresponding discipline records button as well to avoid sending duplicate letters in the future. So let's take a live look at printing attendance form letters. Just going to go visit both pages. We're going to start off with period attendance, period attendance reports form letter. So period attendance reports form letter. I'll choose the letter that I want to send, choose the range. I can go by random and just select individual students, or I can go by grade level, choose them all. I can sort by primary contact. Here are my sorting options right here. Email if possible, print, and then create a corresponding discipline record. So it shows the summary of the discipline records that were created for the violation. And now I can go into discipline and I can run any of the reports that are available for that as well. The one thing that happened off screen here when I clicked print, it pulled up a PDF of the information that was on that letter, along with the individual students' names are listed. And if I would have corrected or attached like a full summary, you'd be seeing the summary of these letters as well. You can see, 184 pages. They do get lengthy if you're going to include summaries on there. So make note of that. The other attendance reports form letter page will give you the same options. Essentially, you choose your option from the select form drop-down list, print, create a corresponding discipline record to complete that action. Jody, any questions coming through or anything to add to this process?
There are no questions. You're doing a great job.
So wrapping it up, we've got some JMC upcoming news and events coming up in September here. We've got the ways we support along with our refresh rollout. We're super excited here at JMC about our refresh, our program refresh, along with the new modules that are going to be released. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, or the community messenger, which is going to be coming out very soon, check out that webinar coming up on the 21st. We've got our admin workshop series continuing, along with our new user series featuring Gate. Minnesota Star reporting coming up the end of next week, and then we roll into October. It's October already. Can you believe that, Jody?
It's crazy. I know.
Leaves are going to be changing. We're going to be getting pumpkins out. My wife's already got all the fall decorations out. I got to tell you, on a side note, it is amazing the amount of money and the amount of fall decorations that are out there. Are you a fall person, Jody?
I'm a Christmas person. My husband and my daughter are definitely a Halloween people. So they do the Halloween and I go crazy at Christmas.
That's kind of where we are as well. I'm more of a Halloween guy. My wife is more of a Christmas person, but that does not shy her away from, the mums that we have. Mum's the word on the mums. Okay. We've got
They're
plenty
so
of mums.
pretty, Jake. She has to have as many as she wants.
They are very pretty. I will grant that. And yes, she deserves those. So I just can it and say, you know what? I'll water them. Just tell me where to take them and I'll put them there. So that's kind of my role in that. But yes, we are going to be in October. We're going to be doing our new user series, creating the credit checker, another cool innovation that'll save you some time. Along with new grade acceptance. So with the new term coming up, coming to a close, we have a new process for ending the term, both in the office, and JMC teacher hasn't changed much, but there might be a few things that you'd want to note from the teacher end. So make sure you check that out. It's super simple. It's going to save you a lot of time. You're going to really enjoy the fact that you have reports of all the teachers that have not yet sent grades to the office. So some very cool things coming up with that. That's on the 4th of October. New user series getting ready for the end of the term is also on the 10th. So we'll be covering some of those same processes for our new users. And then our summer conference, new feature review round 1. We had a great summer conference, couple great summer conferences where we got some new features and went over some new features that are coming out. So we'll be going over those to the broader community here on October 11th. You have a positive experience with JMC that you'd like to share, become a reference and help us spread the word. Email your district's reference letter to marketing@jmcinc.com and you'll be entered for a chance to win a JMC Pride Kit. So if you're interested in receiving a JMC Pride Kit, come on, tell us your tales of greatness of JMC to marketing@jmci.com. So community members, we have our whole new ball game, our new module for community messenger. It's really, really super cool. I'm excited to be rolling that out. We have our webinar coming up on Thursday. So please join us for that. Click the registering here link there in the PDF of this video when it gets sent out to you, so to sign up and register for that. Innovations, very, very cool deal. I think your community is going to love it. They're going to be able to sign up and become informed about things like when you have a closure, if you're running a daycare in the area and you would like to keep up to date on when things and events are canceled at your school, the community messenger is there to serve that purpose. So if you have a new superintendent, encourage them to join our new administrator workshop series. We've got a couple installations of that left, so check out the article associated with that. As always, we invite you to be social with us. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn @OnlineJMC, and check out our blog at jmcinc.com/news. So Jody, for Sarah, for Jody, for myself, thank you for joining us today for this weekly webinar, and we'll catch you on the flip side.